Right, so possible reasons for black on black crime. Now, in London, as you know, there are a lot of gangs, and unfortunately, a lot of the gangs are dominated by young black men. So it's inevitable that when you have gangs, obviously there will be feuds, disputes, beef, there's going to be bloodshed on the road. It's inevitable that there are going to be young men who are going to attack and kill other young men. And it's unfortunate that most of the young men are black, are killing other young black men. Obviously, listening to rap music, listening to drill music, listening to the type of music that will kind of prepare you for riding out on an enemy. So that means going to look for enemies. Obviously, that's going to be a reason why young men are going out there and killing each other, because they're fueling themselves with that music is fueling them to go and commit murders. If you've ever listened to certain music can get you angry. I remember I watched a interview once, and someone said when they listen to one particular set of guys, their music, they feel angry. They feel they want to go out and hurt people. So the music's one of the things. Now, the area that I grew up in is heavily dominated by black people. In my school, both primary school and secondary school, obviously there were white people there, but there was a lot of black people. In my area, there's a lot of black people where I go, and my secondary school, a lot of black people as well. There were lots of Turkish people, Greek people, white people, but there were a lot of black people. Now, in my area, the gangs are just, they're fully black. I think there's like, in the gangs that I know, when I was around, there was only like maybe one white boy in the whole gang, and there might be like 50 members in the area. So there weren't much white people. So in my area, white people are not seen as a threat. You know, when I walk down the street, I don't even like, when I was on the road, when I walked down the street before, I never used to pay attention to other white boys or other white men because I didn't see them as a threat. Not saying that they're, you know, not as strong as black men, but I'm just saying I just never used to see them as a threat because they've never posed a threat to me. I've never been threatened by anyone who's white. So when I see a white person, or when I see a white person down the road, I don't even pay them any mind. But even to this day, like I'm out of a gang and I'm on the straight and now, but even to this day, when I walk down the road, it's kind of like a primeval instinct. Like when I see another black man, I don't know, subconsciously I size him up. You know, I will look at him for a split second longer than I'll look at any other person. And I don't even know why this is. Right. Now, I kind of have like a little theory as to why this is. Now, this only really applies to black men and black people. But obviously, we're not in tribes anymore. You know, we're more domesticated. You know, we live in houses, we live in cities, right? But we are still human beings and we still have primeval instincts in us, you know, fight or flight, sexual attraction to the opposite sex. So maybe when I see and other young black men or other black men see another black person, they have this kind of like size him up type of thing, or that guy might be a potential threat. Because when we were in Africa, when we were in tribes, the people who we knew, obviously, you know, they were on our team, we were safe, but there were other tribes. And the thing about being in Africa and being black at that time was that although they look the same as us, they could be a potential threat. So in our minds, subconsciously, we probably think that anyone that we see that looks like us, but we don't recognize, they could be a potential threat. How true this is, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to find like maybe a theory as to why a lot of young black men see other black men as a potential threat. Because I've been out with, you know, like when I was in a gang, I've been out to different areas and we see another set of young black guys. We don't know them and we confirm we don't know them, but there's this tension. It's like we want to start trouble with them and we don't even know why. So maybe that's a potential reason. Now, I've been to other areas, you know, like other areas in London. obviously, as I said before, my area is heavily dominated by black people. And another area that's heavily dominated by black people is an area in South London called Catford. Now, I rode my motorbike down there, and I was going through an area called Kidbrooke and some other areas that I'm unfamiliar with. And those areas, there weren't much black people. But as soon as I got to Catford, it's almost like I had to be on the defensive, because when I got to that area, I noticed there was a lot of black people. So I didn't exactly feel threatened. I still felt, strangely enough, I still felt like I was at home, but I still felt like I needed to be on my P's and Q's because there were a lot of black people around. And and another thing as well, which is unfortunate, where you have lots of black people, there's usually going to be trouble, because I've been to raves and parties and clubs, and where you find lots of black people, there's always going to be trouble, unfortunately. Why do you think Notting Hill Carnival has so much police there? It's not because of all the white people that go to the Notting Hill Carnival, or people from outside of the UK who come to Notting Hill Carnival. It's because of the black people, unfortunately. So I don't know, maybe the reason why young black guys see other young black guys as a potential threat is because of our primeval state, or when we was in Africa. You know, anyone that we saw that looked like us but we didn't recognize as a friend could be a potential threat, and it still exists today in our minds subconsciously. So just something to think about. If you like the video, subscribe. If you don't like the video, change your station.